Welcome back to Watch More Football. We're on the 29th episode. You're watching us once again on a Genreverse Sports YouTube channel. Please give us a like and subscribe if you can. If you enjoy the show, absolutely. If you come back and watch it every week, please let us know what you think. You can also check out our main Genreverse YouTube channel on there as well. Loads of entertainment news, interviews, things like that on there. And if you want to find that similar kind of content in written form, then you can check out lrmonline.com, where you've got lots of written news, rumours, interviews, all that sort of stuff are on there as well. So, 29th episode. I can't believe we've done this 29 times, guys. We're only getting to 30.
Going well.
Once we get to 38, it'll be like a full season. Anyway. Funnily enough, talking about seasons, the new Premier League fixtures come out. We'll get to that later on, but it is interesting that when we get to it, I did send it to Kyle today so that he had some information, and he couldn't believe how much football they actually play. And I was describing to him, that's not even a half yet. Then you add in the Euros, and then I was saying you add in this FIFA World Club Cup that they're trying to bring in as well, and it's like they just don't get any time off.
It was crazy.
Two other cups. Then you got your
FA Cup, League Cup.
It's just like, and it's not even like the number of games. Like, you know, you play one or two a week. That's fine. Usually one a week ish, somewhere around there, right? Yeah.
Well,
it was
maybe the average two, depending on.
If you Tottenham, you play one a week.
But it was just it was like, where's the break? You finish in May. I know there's going to be like, you know, off-season stuff, signings, trades, freaking, you know, preseason warm, get the new players up to speed and all that. It's like, what is off-season for Premier League? Holy shit!
I mean, they basically get like a week to 2 weeks holiday, and that's it. I guess the ones that are not at these Euros will get a little bit more, depending on if they're not international footballers or not. But just to give you an example, one of Newcastle players last year played in the under-20 under-21 World Cup, and they won it for England. So Newcastle's manager offered them to have an extra couple of weeks off because he literally hadn't had a holiday. And he decided against it and just come back along with everybody else. He basically no holiday at all.
And now he's playing the Euros.
And now he's at the Euros.
He's still not had a break since then, because he's at the Euros now, and he's probably had his best season as a result yet. But you know, when you're young,
fine. Sandra Tonali will be well rested for you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Anyway,
before we get into all the kind of fixtures and all that sort of stuff, let's have a wee catch up on the Euros, shall we? And everything.
Yeah, definitely.
We're through. We're on the final game. Yeah. What's that? Oh, okay. I don't know what you're talking about. But there is a game on right now, but that's the final one of Matchday, if you like. And we did do some predictions, and the details are on screen if anybody wants to join in. You'd have missed Matchday 1 now, but you can still join in. There is the four of us here, plus producer Kyle, and our number one superfan Rich has joined in as well. So let's see how the league tables have gone so far.
It's a bit early to tell, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is early to tell. And the thing is, there is a scoring system in this that no one understands.
Which is absolutely ridiculous.
Points at random.
No, I understand it. I don't know what you're on about.
I think I've got a handle on it.
15 points.
You got 6 points for getting a result wrong, Ryan.
I really don't understand how it works. I don't like it, but you know what? At least it works it all out for you, and I don't have to work it out or anything like that.
No scribbling on whiteboard.
Numbers aren't your strong point, other Cam.
See, the main reason why we find myself quite far ahead on top of the table is because of this underdog bonus, and I'm reading the official rules. Correctly predict a scoreline that less than 10% of players predicted. So if you're like me and you just go for shit scores just to be contrarian, and they come in, you're away.
Oh, that's what it is. I maybe picked too many that would just come up on the screen. Like now it gives you some options and you go, yeah, I fancy that one.
Yeah, but then you don't get your bonus for that.
Yeah, well, oh well. That's where we're going wrong, Ryan. And you are storming into a lead at the moment with 59 points.
Considerable
Kyle
lead.
is in second place and 42 points. I was bottom until yesterday, but somehow managed to get to third on one single game. So I'm third on 40 points. Dave is on 34 points. Rich is on 33 points. It's all very tight down the bottom, though, and Mick's on 32 points as well. But as we've seen, you can have a 15-point swing in like one game very easily on this, and that would put anybody kind of top of the table probably, or at least in contention. So who knows what will happen as we go
It's shit,
along.
I'm not playing anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mick.
I mean, rather than do it at the end, it's probably as well we just bring up our weekday match day 2. That's what I'm trying to say. Match day 2 fixture predictions, and just talk about them just now. I did notice that everyone is going for a Scotland defeat, including myself. Just pointing that out. Not a single person.
It is not exactly a bold strategy, Cotton, is it?
No.
It's not going to be
and as you can see by I'll move slightly here, and you can see, yep, that's the Air Scotland plane ready and fueled to take off, because when we get beat off Switzerland, that'll be it. We can't qualify, and we'll be flying back home again.
You can't qualify, Cam.
No, you can if you beat.
You can if you beat Hungary.
Yeah, it's one of those.
You just get 3 points.
You can go through third. Yeah.
Yeah, but is that not like only the best losers or something like that?
Well, yeah, you'd have to keep it fairly tight against Switzerland and then properly batter Hungary. But
we're not winning. We're not winning. I mean, we may as well just talk about it. And we did start with Scotland versus Germany. Now, none of us thought Scotland had a chance of beating Germany, did we? No. We all, everybody thought Germany's going to win this opening game. That was no surprise at all. But I think what was a surprise was, I think so far, having watched all the games, Scotland's was the worst performance of every team that we've seen thus far in the tournament. Would you say?
There was just nothing there, was there?
It was diabolical.
Really.
There's some teams that have bad halves, but they've sort of fought back. So like Hungary were really poor against Switzerland in the first half, but then they had, they still lost, but they had a go in the second half.
Yeah, they made a game.
Romania, they were terrible in the first half against Ukraine, but they fought back and they were the better team. No, not Romania. Sorry, what am I thinking? It was 1-1.
1-1.
Was it Slovenia against Denmark?
Yeah.
Serbia,
I didn't see that one.
Yeah,
Serbia
that was the one.
Slovenia had a much better second half as well against you guys.
True.
So
Croatia didn't really do great. It could have been far worse of them against Spain.
Well, I mean, they did have an open goal that they failed. That the guy just refused to put in the back of the net and fell over instead. So maybe they could have got back in if they'd actually been trying to score goals. It's kind of the name of football, but we can maybe talk about that one. I don't know, but
Croatia had some chances, but Spain were clearly the better side there. I don't think it was necessarily Croatia. I don't think it was Croatia didn't turn up. I just think Spain were excellent.
That was one of the games I missed.
Oh, it was brilliant.
Yeah,
really good.
I watched it.
Not as good as today.
No, not as good as today. No.
I mean, I think with Scotland was, much as Germany's passing was excellent, and Tony Kroos was brilliant, and Musiala and Wirtz, you couldn't keep track of them.
Gundogan.
Scotland had no outball because they were pinging it forward to Che Adams, and he's about half the size of Rudiger and Jonathan Tah, and he was just getting muscled off the ball every single time, and there was just no physical presence for them.
He was too deep as well.
Like Tony Kroos on the ball, because he kind of could just do whatever he wanted. He had over 102 passes, and he had 99% pass accuracy. So he basically misplaced one pass in the whole game, and essentially they just didn't put him under any pressure at all. And they talked about it even before the game about how they really, you don't let him have that comfortable a game, make it difficult for them, and they just did absolutely.
Well, that was how they qualified. They really sort of got it up Spain and beat them, and pressed Spain and really made it uncomfortable for them, and that just didn't happen on Friday.
Do you just think the occasion got to them too much because of how long it's been since he's been at a major tournament?
Well, they were at the last Euros.
Yeah, I mean, we were at the last one.
Yeah, they played us.
I can't remember. That's how bad
they
were there.
We actually...
Was that the World Cup?
I know draw against you. It was the only decent game we had. If we'd been playing against you, we always lose a game for that. But that's the thing with Scotland. We just never seem to... We go to tournaments and we shit the bed every time. Every single time. I mean, there's far better teams than this that have really... I mean, you've got to remember, there was at one point where, you know, we had a team that had Dalglish, Souness, and all that sort of stuff in it. Do you know what I mean? Like
managed by Sir Alex.
Class, actual world-class players, and they still failed to qualify from the group stages, you know. So there's just some psychological thing going on. I don't know what it is, and it just pisses me off, and it's why I can't be bothered when we get there. You know, it just feels like a waste of time. It's just going to be on the plane, straight back home, and all this no Scotland, no party rubbish, you know, that you hear, oh, we're just having a great time anyway. I want to see some of them going, this wasn't good enough. The players need to do better. You know, it's like they don't care, and the players know that the fans won't care. That they'll just get pissed, have a good time anyway. So I know it's only
going to Germany and not going to like Qatar or anything, but it's not a cheap trip over there either. And all of that build up and all of the effort that the fans put in Munich in the lead up to the match, and then just Scotland didn't turn up.
It's not being reciprocated.
Sky Sports News were saying that there's 60,000 Scots there, and there's only going to be 20,000 Swiss there. And Swiss is a lot.
Have you took like about 150,000 fans over or something?
You had 4% of the population of Scotland in Germany at one point on Friday.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. And yet,
all even brought a song out for us.
Well, they always do. It's usually, what was it, last year tournament, it was don't come home too soon. What happened? They came home too soon. And that's the whole thing. They will always be on the first plane back home to Scotland as soon as it is physically able for them to get out. They will get out as quick as possible and go home. And that's all you can say about it. It pisses me off. Let's stop talking about Scotland.
They miss the iron bro.
Half of them are English now, and I just don't think they care. I just think half of them don't give two shits because of
the agents, double agents.
I was born in Birmingham. I'm only coming to this because it's an extra $5,000 a year. Do you know what I mean? What do you want from me? That's too many of them.
I've only played for them to freaking make me granny happy.
Granny rules and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, what about your mob then, England? How did you feel it went, lads?
Good first half, shite second half.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything to necessarily panic about because there was a lot of good stuff there, and we saw out the pressure from Serbia really well. They actually didn't really, although they had a lot of the ball, they didn't really threaten much. I think Pickford had one save to make. What's frustrating is, as I was saying sort of in the group chat before that, Spain and Germany in particular put down a real marker. And I think if England wanted to be taken seriously, they needed to have done that. They needed to have, at 1-0, they were completely on top and really needed to sort of put the foot down. But ironically, sort of their left back getting injured actually helped them because Saka was absolutely dominating him all night, and the guy they subbed on completely nullified him, and then Trippier and Foden weren't working together well on the left at all because Trippier was just constantly passing back to the centre backs. Foden was getting out muscled, he wasn't making the runs, no one was finding him, and
he couldn't pass the ball properly. I don't think Foden had a good game at all. No. I don't understand how he played the full 90.
I don't know why we put him on the left.
First 5 minutes.
He's honestly right. Foden on the left is an absolute waste.
Yeah. It's just shooting.
Trent played okay, but I still wouldn't have him in the centre. I wouldn't have him in midfield. You need to have Rice and Bellingham alongside each other, Foden in front of that, and have either Gordon or Eze on the left, Saka or Palmer on the right, Kane up in the middle. You need them balls whipped into that box straight away for Kane. Kane was isolated the whole game.
I would have Foden and Bellingham both in that kind of 10-8 type role and just tell them,
I'm just saying, like,
whatever the hell you want. As long as you're not stunning and tap each other, you're good. Do you know what I mean?
So even though Bellingham was sort of on the team sheet as a 10, he was sort of playing box to box and he was breaking up play and getting involved in the physical battle quite a bit. And that's where I think you could put him next to Rice. Trent, you can have right back.
Yeah.
He's not got the defensive mind to play it in midfield. He can't break up play and he'll leave Rice isolated if he's the midfielder. But you play him right back, and then when we've got the ball, he can come inside and start pinging those balls, because he was playing Saka in. He was playing the early ball into Saka, and Saka was making the runs, and that's where we were getting the space out of the game. He can do that from right back just as easily as he can.
The thing is, he won't.
And then Foden in the middle.
Yeah. He won't drop Walker because of Walker's pace at the back. That's he won't drop him.
Against teams that you're not going to be defending against. Why
in the groups at least,
there's back, let them do that.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, Denmark and Slovenia haven't got anyone who's going to worry Walker or Trent, to be honest, pace wise. I think, you know, with Kane, I think this happens every tournament, in that Kane's completely anonymous until he scores a goal. He doesn't, you know, I know he tends to drop back and get involved, but you know, he tends to have a quiet game until he scores or he gets that chance, and he got the chance when
that as well.
You know, I did like the fact that we've got a bit more creativity in midfield meant that he wasn't dropping back to try and start things. So he was there waiting for the ball to come in, and it did come in eventually, but we need to get that ball in more often.
It took 76 minutes for that ball to come in.
Yeah, so that's the issue.
Not good enough. Yeah. He can't play Foden out left.
No,
that's just a complete waste.
What about the criticism that a lot of people have been levelling? And one of them was Eric Ten Hag, apparently on Dutch TV, talking about that this is what Southgate does. It gets to a certain point in the game, usually fairly quickly into the second half, and he makes whether he intends it to be defensive or not, he makes a defensive type substitution. And so England invariably dropped back after that. They analysed it after the game on BBC, and I heard a lot of other managers talking about it as well, and how that mentally that you've took off this player for this player makes the players all start saying, right, we need to protect what we've got here rather than going on and expanding in the game.
I don't actually think that was the case, to be honest. I think we got to 1-0, we got to 35 minutes and we played really well. And I think the mentality was, let's just do enough to get through the game. He didn't necessarily sub anyone on defensively, leading to Serbia ceding control. It was more we weren't trying to stretch the game as much. I don't think
putting Bowen on instead of Palmer. Like, you know, Palmer's the attacking pick there. Bowen's the let's be careful pick.
I think in the first half we stopped trying to stretch the game as much, and that gave Serbia a bit of encouragement. And then in the second half, I actually think it was the right decision when he did to bring on Gallagher, because it just gave us a bit more grit in midfield.
Just win that ball back.
And you know, at that point, it was clear that we weren't gonna run away with it. Sort of, you know, 60-65 minutes. So I think that was the right decision to sort of preserve the 1-0. But in the first half, I think we could have gone for the juggler a bit more, and that would be the criticism I had.
I mean, the first sub wasn't until about the 70th minute, anyways. Wasn't it?
It was really late. They had made 4 subs.
It was really late. But I agree with Ryan that around about the 35th minute we weren't going for it enough. There wasn't enough width. There wasn't enough direct running. That's just
there wasn't enough.
We do that against
Gordon.
Not just him. There's Eze as well.
Yeah. Although he made the subs quite late, you know, 2 of the players he took off Bellingham and Saka, who were the 2 best players on the pitch for a lot of that game. Yeah. So he's not afraid to do that. What I would have liked to have seen as well is like you say, take Foden off and put Gordon or Eze on, just to give a bit more jeopardy to the Serbian defenders. But also, Harry Kane was getting muscled off by Milenkovic all game. He just wasn't, and we were trying to lump it to him, and it wasn't sticking to him at all. That's a perfect situation to bring Ivan Toney on. I know it's sacrilege to bring Kane on.
True.
Yeah. You know, I know it's well. Tony would wrestle with Milenkovic and win that battle, and he'd hold it up. And if you're trying to see out a game, you're not gonna. You know, you don't need that one chance to fall to Kane. You need an out ball, and that's where Tony comes in, I think. But you know, it's a brave call to take Kane off in a game if he's not injured.
Yeah, but like I say, Tony, Gordon, you've got that out. You've got the pace as well. And we'll lack that on the left-hand side. Their right back had one of probably the easiest games he's going to have in this tournament.
You try and get the ball out to Gordon.
Non-existent.
You try and get the ball out to Gordon, he's going to win you a few fouls up the pitch and just sort of take the sting out of the game a bit and that sort of thing. So, it was good. I think he was more proactive with his substitutions than he's been in the past. But there's just that extra level. And I think as a mentality as a team, they need to be a bit more ruthless in a game like that. Because for the first half hour, they were playing Serbia off the park, I thought.
Yeah.
Is it proactive, though, leaving it till the 76th minute? When
taking off your
struggling for so long. Yeah, I mean that's
taking off your two best players to change the game tactically. I think that's quite proactive. I think in previous tournaments he would have left Bellingham on because Bellingham was running the show so much. He would have left Saka on because he's had that moment, and I think it shows that he can see, right, cool, this guy's had a good game, but we need something else now. But he needs to see, we need to see him apply that to Kane and Foden if they're not working as well.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely Foden.
Yeah, I mean, it's strange how Foden, just hasn't ever really, or not very often, captured his Man City form for England. Even before, when he was playing quite regularly with De Bruyne. I know this year he's had the number 10 role a lot. But at the same time, you probably look at Southgate and think if he's determined that only one of them can play the 10 role, you have to go with Bellingham in terms of the kind of season and impact he's having. So it's a tough choice.
And I said this on Friday, but you look at the Germany match, they had two number 10s in Musiala and Wirtz, but they were responsible for the width as well as the creativity in the middle. And that's really how we need Foden to play. That sort of dynamic between the lines. But he was sort of parked on the wing, not getting the ball and coming in, and he needs to sort of, I think he needs to look at what Wirtz was doing and try and do a bit more of that because he's capable of it.
There was at one point where Foden was out on the right. There was only Trippier left on that left hand side, and Trippier was really high up. You're going to get exposed by a better team coming into the round of 16 quarters and stuff like that when you do come up against the likes of your Frances and your Germanys and stuff.
Yeah, they'll spot that.
Shaw's going to be back for that, hopefully, and he's a lot better.
Yeah, but that still does. Yeah, right. Then it'll be Shaw by himself. Do you know what I mean? Because Foden is just wandering everywhere, looking for the ball.
Shaw's not a speed demon, is he? Really?
No. His hamstring will pull straight away, chasing Dembele.
That's the worry, isn't it?
So, I mean, you guys are fairly positive still. You think that it's just first game blues.
We don't normally
improve.
We don't normally have a good start to the tournament. First game.
It's our second win in like 10, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be encouraged by, and I think a few of the other big hitters have not been as convincing either. So. Italy, they had that scare against Albania, but then they sort of controlled it from there. Netherlands France really don't look right at all, I don't think.
No. France went on top of it, whether.
Yeah,
France kind of did what England did.
Portugal
beat the Czech Republic at the
minute. I mean, the next question I was going to ask anyway is who's most impressed you so far in terms of the first game?
I think for me, really impressed with Spain.
Yeah, Spain looked good.
I didn't see that game, so I can't.
Germany looked really good as well. There's, it's hard to pick a hole in that German team the way they were playing.
Georgia, I mean, they lost. But
that was one hell of a game. That was one hell of a game today.
Yeah. Alex Ferguson would be saying that Georgia was his favourite team despite losing.
No, wouldn't he be saying Scotland was his favourite team?
I thought Slovakia looked decent for how sort of limited they are. They were really good against Belgium, and although Belgium had like wave after wave after wave of attack by the end of the game yesterday, but Slovakia were doing really well at sort of holding the ball up for a little bit and just taking time out of the game, and sort of a lot of close control stuff, rather than just sort of lump it to the striker.
A lot of
Dubravka tried his best to throw it away.
A lot of
There'll always be a couple of these teams, slightly smaller teams that aren't expected to win it, that'll get through a knockout stage by just working hard, defending well, and
especially where you've got
or something like that.
where you've got the third place teams going through, it opens the door for a Georgia to sneak in, and then anything from there. We saw what happened with Morocco at the last World Cup.
Plus, this is Euros. Anything can happen. Greece won it. Denmark won it. Anything can happen in the Euros. Netherlands, Holland have won it. They've never won a World Cup, but they've won the Euros. So who knows? Even you could win. You actually got to the final last time. So
penalty shootout last, wasn't it?
I was actually quite impressed.
If it wasn't for Chiellini, we would have won that.
What I saw, I would have said Spain as well. I think Spain looked really, really good. But we'll see how they go. Sometimes Spain implode as the tournament goes on. So
I mean, the thing was that the Croatian midfield has a combined age of about 386. They're really on the last legs, and I thought that about France last night as well. There's a lot of miles on the clock of that midfield when they've got Rabiot, Kante, and Griezmann in midfield.
I can't believe that Camavinga didn't start.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Where's Camavinga, Tuchemeni, all that sort of stuff? I don't know if he's injured, but
Tchouameni's injured. Tchouameni is injured, and that's why Kante came. But Camavinga came off the bench last night at one point.
I don't understand how he didn't start. I had a Rabiot or something.
Kante's still fucking amazing.
But
he was outstanding.
Is he going to be able to do it for the full tournament? I don't know. But
he's been jogging for a year. He's got so much energy.
He's got about 6 set of lungs
non-stop, by the way. He's been jogging non-stop for a year.
That's just what it is. He's had such an easy time at Saudi. He's on fire. He's like.
But the thing is, I thought Camavinga would have started ahead of Rabiot, but
yeah.
You never know with Deschamps. He's unpredictable at times.
Yeah, but now Donatello's not going to be playing against Netherlands.
No.
And that does bring us on to our next point. But I don't think it really matters ultimately. But Kale's not really sure what this is about, and I had to ask some questions today as well. So, Kale, do me a favour, just Google Kylian Mbappe, and I want you to tell me if you think he looks like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Hold on.
In any way whatsoever. Because
you want to maybe put his name in the chat, Cam? Because
I mean, from the images you sent me and like his Twitter, I don't see it, but I don't know.
You know
I don't think so.
I
do. I've got him. I've got a. That's my Ghostbusters. My Turtles is on the inside of my arm. Hard to show off, but yeah, I don't know. It's a reach. Maybe there's a version he looks like, but not when I think of Turtles.
I do struggle to see it as well, but the guys tell me apparently this all came from a teammate who threatened he looked like a turtle and gave him a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle mask. Anyway, but Kylian Mbappe, so he broke his nose last night, accidental sort of challenge off somebody's shoulder. He's broke his nose. And if he is going to play in the games for the rest of the Euros, he's going to have to wear a protective mask. So that tweet, although it's in French, that Kyle's either put up or will put up, is basically saying any ideas for masks. And the whole world wants him to get some sort of special Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle mask. I mean, really all he would need is like a blue or purple thing that goes straight across.
I mean, it's just a strip of perspex, isn't it?
That's all it is.
Whatever you like, you can put whatever you want on it.
But that's superpowers players, though. That mask.
But technically, you should go for blue if he's playing for France and they're wearing blue.
Yeah.
I mean, it would
make sense. Actually,
it would make sense. Yeah, he could be Leonardo,
Yeah.
And imagine the marketing potential if they win the Euros and he scores all the goals wearing his Leonardo.
Yeah.
Mask. It's print money.
Yeah.
Yes, probably.
Just feel bad for Real Madrid because obviously he's going there when the tournament finishes and they're going to have this big presentation at the Bernabeu and he's going to show up on the pitch and his nose is going to be on sideways. And it just
well, that's where Ancelotti needs to get dressed up as Splinter.
I could be up for that. That's pretty good. I just it's quite funny that this has all become about the Tottenham whether they wear a turtle mask now. I just don't think it will happen that MD would be able to get one like ready in time. But if you were good at if you could manufacture these face masks and do it to a specific design quickly, I'd have all my R&D department right now going.
I mean,
the perfect.
The mask design is there. The mask design is there. All you have to do is get the social media guy to come up with a design color-wise, and that's fairly easy to put on.
It'll have been done already. It'll have been done already.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see whether he does or whether he just goes for something else, though. We shall see how it happens. So anyway, shall we move on to some Premier League discussion now? And fixture lists have all come out. It's probably worth noting that Kel will bring up the link showing like the first week, of fixtures, and we can have a look at. We can talk through who we're all starting against and everything like that. I did give him one team's full fixture list, which was Newcastle's, because that is very nicely presented. Your team's efforts were disgraceful, and therefore have to be shared.
I actually tried to make one up in work earlier on, but I couldn't manage sort of looking over my shoulder and hiding my paint window and all that sort of thing. I gave up after a little bit.
Yeah,
especially because I got to December and there were like 6 games there, and I just couldn't get them to sit right anywhere. Sorry, that's why I'm not a social media guy.
But if you have good social media like Newcastle do, then your social media guy just makes it up for you, and then you can all just take the image and show it to everybody on YouTube. It's fantastic. But, it probably is worth talking. I would like to talk a little bit about Newcastle's fixtures, because it's the first year in a while where I look at it and I think there's nothing like crazy in there. There's nothing like, oh, look at that 6-week period there. Or, we're probably not going to come up with any statistics at the end of the season, like who had the hardest run in or who had the hardest start, which we usually always do come up in one of them. Who had the hardest Christmas? I mean, we've not got the easiest Christmas, but it's not as hard as some other teams' Christmas either. So, I don't think we're actually going to appear at the top of any of those charts for once this year. It's interesting.
Yeah. It's about time as well.
I mean, it doesn't really mean anything, though. It's like I always said,
just because it goes
Spurs were doing great last year, I said, well, look at all the games they've got at the end of the season. They can easily lose all those games, and they lost the lion's share of them and fell well in the contention in the Champions League.
If you end up playing like the big 6 within an 8-week period, it's going to knock all the momentum out of you. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Where it's spread out for us this year, so that gives us a chance to keep momentum going.
I think it's if you lose more than 3 games in a row, that's it. If you're third game in a row that you lost, you're in a downward turn big time.
Exactly.
And if you're playing somebody that you've got a chance against, you're hoping maybe you never get to that 3 in a row losses that pulls people down. But who knows? Could all go tits up as well.
I think United have got a decent start, although it's Liverpool 3rd week in, and the last time a bold Dutch manager played that game 3rd week in, he got an unexpected win and turned his season around. So I'd fancy that with Donnie slot taking over at Liverpool.
I mean, it's not a terrible time to get them when they're just starting off with a new manager and everything like that.
Like I say, 2 years ago, you'd say that for Liverpool, because we went into that game off the back of losing to Brighton and getting battered by Brentford, and we ended up beating them. So, that might be the game that Liverpool to kickstart things. December looks quite tricky for us, so bear in mind we've got a couple of Europa League matches to put in there as well. We've got Arsenal away, we've got City away, we've got Newcastle at home, and we've got Wolves away on Boxing Day, and that can be a tricky one as well. And then Bournemouth and Forest at home in there as well. But Arsenal, City, and Newcastle all in December is quite tricky, I think.
I think December's probably because one of the teams we're playing is you as well. I think we've got a couple, but Chelsea, you've got the hardest start to anybody, Dave.
City,
because you guys start against Man City.
if you're going to play City at any time, do it first game of the season. If you win, it's a great start. If you lose, it's a first game. You catch up later on.
It's a fair point, and then you just catch up. Yeah,
you had a good record against City last season. You gave them a good time.
Lose apart from the FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah,
but
so
could have gone either way.
You might end up being their bogey team. That would be amazing.
Yeah, it depends how. Yeah, I hope we can have a good pre-season, but it's a new system. We could have a lot of new players back. Ones who've been injured for a year. So. Probably about another 10 players that we buy. Who knows?
What's that? All these South American wonder kids.
Oh, they're coming next year. This is for whatever the board decide to have this year.
Is there any kind of, apart from obviously the Chelsea Man City game, is any other games stand out to you as like ones that you think will be the best in that opening weekend?
I'm going to be intrigued to see Ipswich versus Liverpool. I know that's an odd choice. Yeah, Liverpool to win, but I want to see what Ipswich can do back in the Premier League with a new manager at Liverpool.
Liverpool have got form for getting a promoted team on the first day of the
They do, yeah, they do.
And getting a bit of a bloody nose. I know Fulham beat them quite well a couple of years ago when they came up. And Ipswich at home against Liverpool, it's going to be bouncing. So you never know on that.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at Chelsea's running in May is absolutely brutal. It's Liverpool at home, Newcastle away, and United at home, and then Forest away on the final day.
Forest relegated by then,
who are probably either they're going to be fighting for their lives in relegation. Probably that is a tough run-in for Chelsea.
Yeah, I just hope that whatever we're trying to get, we've wrapped up by that point. So whether it's top 4 titles,
that's it.
We've all said this. We all want our seasons to be over by May. It's going to be a really shit end to the season if that happens. It's
going to be great.
Hopefully mid-table, Europa League next year.
None of us expect our teams to challenge for trophies. So none of our teams are going to be challenging for the league next year.
You never know. City might be relegated by then.
I mean, fair enough, but that doesn't mean everybody's going to suddenly catch up to Arsenal and Liverpool either. Liverpool are a bit of an unknown, but Arsenal I expect to be just as good.
Yeah, I don't know that Liverpool being up there.
Yeah, Liverpool's going to be.
We'll come to that on a later episode, I guess. But
yeah.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Anything else you guys want to go over? Any important messages or
any transfers been going on this week?
Well, so since we last recorded, the news obviously came out that Erik ten Hag's staying as United manager. We've had no official comment from the club, but Ten Hag himself was on Dutch TV the other day, basically saying, they're keeping me on. So that's good. That was my favourite outcome, and I think he's got.
It was all of ours.
I think he's got till Christmas to sort of earn that extended contract that they're talking about. And if we're not playing better, I don't really care where we are on the table by Christmas. But if we're not playing better, I think he'll be in trouble by then.
Yeah. The only reason you haven't had an official statement is because they're still in Ibiza.
They're still partying with him. I don't think he's going to get almost any say in who comes in the window. I think he'll be able to say position he wants, and then it'll be up to this new.
But even then, the positions we need are quite evident. It's about what sort of player he wants for those positions, which is where he'll have a say. So, I mean, in terms of the transfer dealings, it's very early in the window, and we've been here before, but it is looking like we're sort of turning a corner. So we've put in a really low offer for Jared Branthwaite of Everton. And the noise,
a shithouse mover.
Yeah, the noise is if Everton are demanding their 70 million, we're going to walk away. Now the proof is going to be in the pudding. If in the next week or so we start seeing links to another centre back, proper links to another centre back, then I believe that we're actually changing our ways. What we can't have is to spend all summer trying to haggle Everton down to 60 million for Branthwaite. We need to pick a centre back and get him early. And we're also looking at triggering the release clause for Joshua Zirkzee from Bologna, who's a young Dutch striker. That is a sort of move that we need to make more of. I think.
He at the Euros, Zirkzee?
Yeah. He was a late call up to the Dutch squad, but he is there. He might play the next game for how Memphis was finishing.
So just be just be keen to.
From what I've seen, he's a sort of
he's a
similar build. He's a similar build to Højlund, but is sort of a bit better on the ball. So they could complement each other nicely, especially if he goes with the two up front that he was doing it sort of the back end.
When I've watched him for, do you know why he looks a good player? So I watched a bit of Italian football last season. He did look good. But AC Milan have stepped up now. Since Man U have declared their interest, they stepped up the chase for him.
Milan have wanted him for a little while. It's I think we'd probably offer better salary than Milan. And I think the agent.
But whether does he want to stay in Italy and
I think the stumbling block as well, and I think where Milan is going to have an issue is the agent wants quite a decent chunk out of it as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But that's encouraging that we've been making concrete moves quite early. It's just whether
Newcastle
we can see them
made
through.
the signing. We've actually made the signing already.
we made two. We made two.
Yeah.
Lewis Hall became permanent, which was official when the transfer window
opened.
There's
Lewis Hall as well, but Lloyd Kelly's been announced officially on Newcastle TV and everything like that. Yeah. So he's definitely coming. He's signed his contract and everything like that. It's just a case of waiting for it to open to ratify it all and everything like that. But it's done.
It's looking like we'll probably get Trafford as well. I think we've offered 15 million plus 5 million add-ons.
That's absolute madness. I'm sorry. That's just
I'm not sure about
can make a profit on the keeper who relegated them is just
a Newcastle fan I saw in the Sun.
He's only 21.
Made a good point of this today. He said either you've got one or two problems. You go for a Marshall Villa, right? And Pope then wants to leave.
He's
Pope leaves,
absolutely useless on an attacking corner, is my mind.
And now you need to buy a new second keeper because you've still not got enough. So what they're doing this season is deciding Pope's going to stay, but somebody that will come in and not expect to be number one, but actually feel that they can fight for it for a year at least. And that's basically what Trafford will be if he comes. I don't know. We'll see. But at the end of the day, he's not going to play much unless Pope's injured anyway.
Wow.
So we'll wait and see what happens. You never know.
Yeah.
Anything else in for your end? I've not seen anything.
For us,
you gave us that big old essay of a transfer update earlier on. Do you want to give us the highlights?
Yeah, but it's mainly about Elise, wasn't it? And nothing's really happening with it.
I didn't read it, to be honest. It was too long.
They've tapped Elise up first. Then went to Palace and then went back to Elise.
It's been going on for, what, 2 weeks now? So it must be very
It's been going on since last summer, hasn't it?
That's true.
It's worth saying that the Newcastle have also agreed to meet his release clause as well, and we want to buy him as well. But none of us think that will basically get a chance in hell of happening because he's a Chelsea lad. He was in the academy there. He went through the academy. He already lives in London,
and he wants European football as well.
Yeah, there probably is that one. And genuinely, I know you're just trying to troll about the European football thing again.
This joke's going to be going on all year.
It's good to see that we're actually trying to get top players instead of we're actually going for these players. Like we're going for Elise. We're trying to get that Mamadashvili, but obviously Valencia upped the price and then upped the price again when we matched it. So we told them to get stuffed. So it's good to see that we're actually trying to upgrade the players that we've got instead of just saying
transfer targets we've lost to Chelsea and Tosin and Elise, who seems to both have decided they.
I mean, both of them have links to the club anyway.
So. Yeah, both of them do. So it's just one of those things, man.
It is dragging on, so it makes you wonder what's actually going on.
I think obviously Elise will accept your details, and Palace don't want a swap deal; they want cash.
Yeah, I think that's
Newcastle are willing to offer.
Is that
like Madueke or something would be good.
Yeah,
it depends.
I think a lot of it as well is we expect release clause transfers to be quite simple. It's just press a button and go, but it really sort of messes with the PSR because the full 40 million or whatever it is comes off that year. Rather than saying, we'll give you 10 now and then we'll give you 10 next year and we'll give you 10 next year.
Yeah. This sounds complicated because there's talks about it being for Champions League clubs only, and then there's talks about Elise getting a percentage of the release clause. So I don't know. I really don't know.
And Chelsea could always do what they've done previously and say we'll pay more than the release clause so that we can get more favourable terms.
Yeah,
you know,
which is what we did with
Newcastle
Enzo, wasn't it?
They've done it before, yeah.
Obviously, it's not for Champions League clubs if Newcastle have agreed the release clause. Because we're not in the
Have you
Champions
actually
League.
agreed the release clause?
Well, yeah, that's
nobody
yeah,
said
that's
the release clause has been met.
Already agreed to it, yeah.
There's
Well,
been
I think Ornstein said that Newcastle said they were willing to pay the we were
release
before
clause.
Chelsea. We said we were willing to meet the release clause.
Okay, so
and then Chelsea came and said they were willing to meet the release clause as well, so that they could.
Yeah, but being willing to meet the release clause and actually meeting it.
I know it's two different.
I'm willing to buy a ticket to go see Man United. It doesn't mean I'm gonna get one. You know.
No, I know.
Analogy,
but it's just the terminology. Anyway, we're at 45 minutes. That's a nice point to just wrap up for the week. Next week, we don't know what we'll be talking about necessarily next week. We'll be talking about
hopefully in England
win the Euros.
Yeah.
Or match day 2.
Scotland going home and England going through.
Scotland will probably be home, so maybe I can move the plane at that point because the plane will already be on the way back home. And
practically
who knows what we'll be talking about next week. Why don't you come back and find out? You'll find us on the Genreverse Sports YouTube channel. Please give us a look, and we will be back next week. Check out those other links we told you about as well. The main Genreverse YouTube channel and lrmonline.com as well. If you
give her a like and a subscribe
and get your predictions in.
Yes.
And join the league if you want and get into the predictions. You've missed the first week, but you can still get.
But we've seen you can catch up really easily.
Yeah, you can in two games. In 2 games time, you can be ahead of Mick and Dave. So,
Hell, secondary doesn't even understand soccer, so there's always that. You can catch up easily. Guys, thanks very much. See you next week. Bye bye.